Hello, it's me, Joe. Um, Response number 4. Um, yeah, this was a hard read. Paulo Ferrer, he's dry as a remainder biscuit, as Shakespeare once said. Um, I guess what I found, well, I've got two things. Well, a bunch of things. But he talks about the utopian nature of cultural action, for freedom is what distinguishes above from all cultural action of domination. I don't, I think, honestly, we've been dominated. Um, we as a species have been dominated by the politics of our time, the cultural institutions of our time that not we as artists, educators, but we as humans have been dominated by. And it's fascinating. It's a struggle to get through um, his readings, but it's I kind of feel that way that we've been hooked, and it's not for the good. And yet, the revolution that he talks about um, starts culturally, which I totally agree with. Um, it's cultural change, which I thought, and I agree and disagree with in terms of his points of view artistically, in terms of me using it on a daily basis. But if you look at this country, and he's talking about South America, but if you look at this country in inaugurations of presidential candidates who become president, um, it's quite different. And then what we're fed and that we're not fed, and the stuff we buy into, and how that tie goes back into the first part of the reading in terms of his dealing with illiteracy with peasants, and um, what we choose to once we become literate, um, what we choose to consume and what we choose to read and interpret, um, whether the ability to give someone the ability to read and write to make them literate will indeed enlighten them, or do we just go to the lowest common denominator, which I'm sorry to say is kind of where we're at, unless we fight the good fight, um, which is a struggle as an educator. You're bombarded. Well, we, but also my students are bombarded constantly with um, cell phones, devices, images, which they don't know how to process. And so I kind of took the reading and in terms of literacy and um, transformed it from the literal in terms of literacy to cultural literacy and social literacy. And it's depressing. Sorry. Um, but again, the need to fight the good fight and um, try to bring some islands of sanity to the insane to the insanity, which I found with the video Roberto Lugo, to be such a beautiful, beautiful thing. His sorry, I'm trying to wade through some images, or pages. Sorry, um, his video, his talk was so full of hope. And I didn't get that in the reading of Ferrer or Paula's or Pablo. But his artistry was so profound in the sense of that this person, this young man, never blamed anyone for his situation. Maybe the city of covering up his graffiti yet leaving the trash. But he never really blamed anyone for his situation or his impetus. He took these different things and made beautiful works of art. And I was fascinated by his artistry in the sense of the delicacy of his material objects that he then put imagery on. And I love that contrast. I'm questioning whether, being a performing artist can do that. And I'm kind of jealous. Of that ability. And I want to do more of that. But I found him to be so affirming, yet I like the connection that Beth, you gave in terms of his connection to the choosing to become illiterate in the sense of the art world, and then using that new knowledge to attempt to teach the illiterate, not necessarily illiterate, I don't mean to be derogatory, but to empower. And I think that's what Freire is trying to get at, is trying to empower the masses, everyone. And that's what I found with the videos, that his artwork is trying to empower people to, as he says, have a conversation with opposing viewpoints. And I found that most hopeful. Again, it wasn't a video. The reading, like I said, was kind of dry. But his video was very enlightening and very hopeful. And something to aspire to. I like too his I love the fact that they would leave the trash and paint over his graffiti, which I've had a lot of graffiti artists as students, and they kind of get the same thing. But I thought that was fascinating. So again, I don't know if this miscellaneous ramblings makes any sense, but I hope it does. Thank you. And that's a wrap for tonight. Have a good night. Thank you, Beth. Thank you for the kind comments. Take care. Bye-bye.